Okay, guys, welcome. So today, just a couple of things. I don't know if you can see on camera, but I have some kinetic tape on my left ankle. I have a bit of an Achilles tendon injury. So if you see me modifying my shapes or keeping a bent knee, it's just me honoring my body and my practice today. So you guys move in a way that support your body, and I'm going to do the same. Our practice today is kind of I'm going to call it a new, we'll call it a flow. It's actually a practice that I'm coming back to in my own day-to-day practice. And I'm calling it deep, slow, intentional. And really it's less of the flow concept in a Hatha practice, but more in we're still connecting shapes, but we're going to move slowly and intentionally, not just physically in our shapes and moving into our asana, but also by bringing in and connecting the breath. And those two things together create a deepening in our practice. So when we say deep, we're not necessarily saying things like going deep into a lunge or shifting farther into dragon. Those are edges, those are personal places in your practice, but bringing in really intentional movement, sinking into those shapes, using your breath to really support and come back into your body to notice and feel and allow what's happening. That's where the depth is going to come into our practice. So we're going to start today in Shavasana. So coming right down and getting comfortable. Letting legs find a space that feels appropriate for the low back. Letting the arms come away from the sides and the palms to roll upward. Maybe the shoulder blades stuck under. Now the eyes close down and start to sink into where your breath is this morning. And as you scan through the body, notice if you're holding yourself here, and maybe with a sigh, see if you can let some of that go. Soften the legs so they just roll into a natural space through the hip socket. The shoulders melt back and the face softens. Letting go of anything that isn't tied directly to this time here on your mat in your practice. And as you really start to sink in, let the energy and the mind slow down. Take the opportunity to check into your body, really see how it feels. Notice for yourself if you're feeling energized, if you're feeling fatigued, and without judgment for any of those things, just allowing them to inform where you're going to go, how you're going to move in your practice today. And starting to really connect to your breath, noticing if it's ragged or if it's moving easy already. bringing some intention to it so it begins to deepen in through the nose. Let it drop right down so that the belly rises as you bring it all the way up to the top of the lungs. And again through the nose as you exhale until you feel the body deflate. Notice how that change in breath affects spaces in your body, affects your energetic and even your emotional reactions. Take one more slow, deep breath in. Let it be as slow as you can make it. And as you reach the very top of your breath, so you can't take in any more air, simply suspend your breathing and let all of that energy be contained. If it feels challenging to do that, just gently draw your chin in towards your chest, creates an energy lock. We call it a bandha. Settle in with that sense of containment. If you have that gentle lock, move your chin again away from the chest. Just a little sip in of air. Take a big heavy sigh to let it out go. Bringing movement back through fingers and toes. You might let the head move side to side. Gathering the knees up towards the chest. Give yourself a squeeze, maybe a gentle rock across the low back. And then the feet come down to the floor. Figure 4. We're going to cross the right ankle over the left knee. If this feels like enough as we start, you might just put some gentle intention into the bent knee and let it move away from the body. Or we start to pick the legs up. You could reach over the top of the knee or through this whole space. Find a bind maybe behind the thigh or over the shin. Mindful as we start. And then start to relax here. Let the tailbone be heavy towards the floor. Slow, intentional breath as we feel into this first shape. You might gently move side to side. Find an edge that feels really good. We're going to take 3 more easy breaths here. Release any bind you might have and bring that foot back to the floor. We're going to turn this into a twist, but a twist of choice. So you could wrap that top leg over and turn this into twisted roots, or you could just bring these side to side. We're going to shift the hips towards the right and then start to shift into an easy twist to start. It doesn't have to be deep at any point. You could bring supports under the knee. When you find your version, take your arms out into maybe a T, even up overhead. Just let them find a home. We're going to take a few easy breaths here and just letting yourself be heavy to the floor. One more breath. Bringing yourself back through center. The feet come down, align the spine. If your arms aren't in a T, bring them there. We're going to take an arm wrap. So reach both hands for the sky and then cross the right hand over the left. Continue wrapping and then walk your fingers like you're going to try and interlace them behind your back. Take a full breath in. You might lift the shoulders just a micro amount off the floor. Feel the space between the shoulder blades open, the outside line of the shoulders. You could even lift the elbows just a little bit to explore into this here. If there's strain in the neck, lift the chin. Take a full deep breath here. Exhale, we unwrap the arms, let them fall heavy out to the side. Then we're going to take our legs long one more time. Bring your hands palms down underneath your sit bones. And then we're going to draw your shoulders towards your ears and place the elbows back down on the floor along the sides of the ribs. We're going to come into fish pose. Take a full deep breath here. And then we're going to press into the elbows to lift the upper body. Lead with your heart space. Squeeze the shoulder blades back. And if it feels okay as we start, let the head drop back. If not, you can keep your chin tucked in, but try and lift from the heart space. Take a slow, deep breath here. Let this traction of the upper spine. And then with an inhale, we're going to tuck the chin and slowly with control lower back down. Release the elbows and the arms. Take a breath. Bend the knees again. We're going to come to figure four on the other side. So left ankle over right knee. Choosing your variation, you can press the knee away or pick the shape up and find your bind. Slow, easy release into the hip. You can relax anything else in this shape. Let's take one more breath here. Release anything you might be holding so the foot comes down. And we're going to turn this into a twist on this side, whatever feels best in you as we start. So the hips shift towards the left and then start to let the knees come to the right. When you've found your variation, maybe it's supported and really shallow, that's perfect. You find a home for your arms and take a big sigh. Last round of breath here. Bring yourself back through center. And if the arms aren't in a T, bring them back there. We're going to reach both hands towards the sky. This time the left arm over the right as we wrap around. Walk your fingers. Be okay with the fact that this bind might be very different on this side. You can explore shifting the shoulders away from the mat. You might lift the elbows or drop them a little bit. This should feel really good. as we open up the space between the shoulder blades, the outside of the shoulders. Take a full deep breath into this really confined space. Exhale, unravel. Let the arms be heavy to the floor. Let's gather the knees to the chest again. Give yourself a hug or a squeeze, maybe a rock. And then we're going to take the legs long one more time. This is low boat. Starting to wake up the core just a little bit. Want to take the arms alongside your body and turn the palms up. Reach the fingers towards the bottom of your mat. And I find this easier if my feet are mostly together. We're going to take a slow, deep breath in. And what we're going to do is we're going to lift the feet and the upper body just about a couple of inches off the floor. And you're going to use your hands to help draw the heart towards that space. We're staying really low. We're going to do this 2 times, and we're going to try for a count of 10 each time. So take a slow, deep breath in and let it go. And when you're ready, we're going to lift. If you find this is too much to do both sides, then do one, and on our second round, we'll do the other. So we're here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Easy to come back down to the mat. Take a big breath and let it go. And then we're going to set up to do that one more time. So if you did one side, do the opposite this time, or we're going to come up with both. Start to really feel the core turn on. Just take a slow, deep breath in and gently let it go. And then in your inhale, we're going to lift. See if you can get whatever's lifted just a little bit more off the floor. We're here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Everything comes down. Bring the knees into the chest one more time. Lengthen out the low back. We're going to rock up and down the spine. So come up towards seated with the feet on the floor. If you need to adjust where you are in your mat, just take a little shift. We're going to play into some high boat this time. So bring your hands behind the knees, behind the thighs. Lift the heart nice and tall, shoulders and 10 back. And we're just going to lean back a little bit. You want to lift from the top of your ribs. Sorry, actually the bottom of your ribs, just the space that we call the solar plexus. That is what is drawing you forward so that we don't drop through the low back. So the shoulders squeeze back, chin lifts. We're going to take a full deep breath in, and maybe you lift one leg, maybe you lift both. Try and keep the thighs squeezing in towards each other. If it feels okay, you can move the hands away, but you don't have to do that. Slow, deep breath. Keep lifting from that space in the core. We're here for another 5, 4. Make sure you're breathing. 2, 1. Take the knees. If you don't already have them, we're going to come forward into butterfly. So soles of feet together, the knees tip out, and let's drop the heart forward. Release everything. Feel the low back lengthen. Let this be very yin. We're not striving or drawing in, just letting go. Let's take one more breath here. And we're going to come back up, take one more boat. So bring the knees together, hands back behind the knees. Take a full deep breath as you lengthen the spine, shoulders back, and then choose your variation, squeezing the thighs together. Maybe the hands come away. making sure that you are breathing really well. And if you're not, change your version. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back into that butterfly. Let that go. And as we're warming up here, maybe the heels are a little closer to the groin this time. You start to feel this through the inner thigh just a little bit more. Inhale, we come up. We're going to cross the ankles and come towards tabletop. So hands are going to come underneath the shoulders, knees under the hips. And let's just move through some cat and cow. Tie it to your own breath. Drop your core, lift your heart and your tail on your inhale, and round the spine and drop the head and neck on your exhale. Just moving with your own breath. Try and slow it down if you feel like you're moving quickly. We want our breath to be very intentional, nice, slow, and supportive. Coming back to a neutral spine, we're going to shift back to our child's pose. Walk the hands as far forward as they'll go. Feel like someone's drawing your hips all the way to the back of the mat. Lengthen out everything. Press the fingertips into the floor. Full deep breath here. And then exhale, the hands melt down. We're going to take a version of striking cobra. So on the inhale, we're going to round up through cat. Shift forward into our knee plank. Adjust your structure so that your hips come in line with your knees and your shoulders. So we have a nice plank through the back line of the body. Press the floor away, spread the fingers, feel really strong. And then slowly lower all the way down to the mat. Make sure your hands are underneath your shoulders. Let's come up into our first cobra. So this might be shallow here as we start to reach into the low back. See if you can relax the muscles around the sit bones and squeeze back the shoulder blades. Take a full breath here. Exhale, lower down. We're going to stay here and play in cobra a little bit. Move hands just a little bit further away than under the shoulders. Squeeze the shoulder blades back. And with an inhale, we come back up into your version of cobra with these fingers spread wide and the hands just a little bit further, keeping your elbows tucking in and your shoulders moving back. See if you can reach forward with the heart, maybe lift the gaze, soften through the sit bones, slow deep breath. Exhale, we come back down. One more cobra. So we're going to take the hands off the mat, come into what we call Spider-Man fingers. So fingers are down on the floor, palms are up, elbows are reaching for the sky. Take a full breath here. And then on your next inhale, again, we come up into cobra. Ooh, this is strong through the biceps. Now notice if you can relax anything. Now can you relax your sit bones? Now can you keep your gaze and your heart lifting or intending in that direction? Take a full deep breath here. Exhale, lower down. Hands come back underneath the shoulders. Two options here. We're going to press all the way back to child's pose, or you're going to tuck your toes under and press back to downward facing dog. If you come to down dog, this is our first down dog today. Maybe you keep a deep bend in the knees as you lengthen out the upper body. Maybe the heels start to come towards the mat. You can walk them out and shift and move. Chin moves away from the chest. We're taking one more breath. If you're in downward facing dog, knees come back, we return to our child's pose. Striking cobra. Inhale, round through the spine, shift forward into knee plank. If you want to work a little harder today, then you could tuck your toes under and come into full plank. Take a full breath here, press the floor away, feel really strong no matter where you are. And then very slowly, we're going to lower down to the mat. Inhale, coming up into cobra, slowly, without pressing your body further than it should go. See if you can explore ways to lift the heart, maybe a little bit more. Can you soften the grip in your hands? Can you release the muscles in the sit bones and the legs? Slow, deep breath right here. Exhale, come down. We're going to take one Spider-Man here. So bring the hands out to the sides, elbows up in the sky. Inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades back, lift the heart. And now see if you can relax those spaces again without compromising your structure. Exhale, come down. Hands come underneath the shoulders. Options, you can come back to child's pose. You could come to downward facing dog, or you can press all the way back to three-legged dog with the right leg lifted. Slow, deep breaths wherever you are. If you're in three-legged dog, see if you can adjust so your shoulders are square and then your hips are square. Take a breath and see if you can lift your foot just a little bit higher. Exhale, the foot comes down into downward facing dog. One more breath right here. Everyone comes down to child's pose. One more time. On your inhale, rounding up through cat pose, shifting into your variation of plank from your knees or maybe from the toes. Full deep breath, press the floor away. And then very slowly, slower than the first two, come all the way down to the floor. Coming up into cobra, squeeze the shoulder blades back, lifting the heart and the gaze, keeping the bend in the elbows. See if you can relax the lower body. Exhale, lower down. One more Spider-Man cobra. Take the hands off the mat. Take an inhale, press into the floor and lift. Relax the low body and exhale, come down. Hands under the shoulders, all the variations, but if you come into three-legged dog this time, the left leg lifts. So take an inhale, choose your version. As you come in, if you're in three-legged dog, same thing. See if you can square your shoulders to the floor. Your hips will follow. Lift that foot just a little bit higher. And then exhale, drop the foot down, downward facing dog. If you're in child's pose, meet us in down dog. Tuck the toes under, start to lift the hips high. Take a moment, if you haven't been here yet, to shift and move into a really nice, strong down dog. We're going to take 3 more breaths right here. And then the gaze comes between the hands. We're going to walk all the way up towards the top of the mat. Take ragdoll fold. So a bend in the knees as you let everything hang from the hips. Now let's bend the knees a lot. We're going to come all the way up to stand. Reach the sky. Maybe there's a back bend here, just a little one. The low back should feel really good. And then exhale down to heart. Okay, so we're going to reach the hands up overhead. Take a side bend here. So you might take hold of the left wrist, tip it over to the side. Inhale, come back up through center, switch sides, tipping over to the left. Inhale up. We're going to open the hands to the right side into warrior 2. So you're twisting to the side. If your hips came with you, press the hips towards the front of the mat. Reach the back arm back. This is a version of a warrior two twist. Reach through the fingers. You're lifting from the upper arms rather than the wrists. Take a full deep breath here. Inhale, we're going to reach back up to center and switch sides. So opening to the left, press the left hip forward, reach strong through the fingers, slow, intentional breath. This is a heat building shape. So if you feel that happening, be okay in it, allow it to happen, let your breath support you here. Inhale, come back to center. We're going to reach on the next breath and then fold on the exhale. Come up through flat back, so fingers on the mat or walking up the shins. Squeeze the shoulder blades back. So we want to make a table here. Send your tailbone back and your head forward so there's no rounding in the upper body. Pressing the heart forward. Staying really strong here. Slow breath. Exhale, fold. We're going to bend the knees a lot. Hands come to the mat. The right foot steps back into runner's lunge. Now, if you have blocks, they can come underneath the hands. We're going to send the back heel back, the heart forward here as you let the hips start to sink. And just breathe. And one more breath right here in our runner's lunge. Notice if your front knee is tipping out to the side, keep drawing it into that center line. We're going to step the back foot onto an angle and windmill the arms up into warrior two. So as you come into warrior two, you want to adjust. The front knee is over the ankle. You're pressing through the outside of the back foot. Bring your heart so it's over top of your hips. Open the hips, the ribs, the heart, the long edge of your mat, and then reach through the fingers. Again, here we're lifting from the upper arm, not from the wrist. Sinking in here and coming back into that really intentional breath. One more breath. We're going to bring the back hand forward. So this is a version of warrior one. And then draw that hand all the way back into warrior two. Inhale, the hand comes forward. Exhale, we draw it back. Inhale, forward. Exhale, we draw it back. One more time, bringing that hand forward. Open slowly to the whole length of the body, coming back into that strong warrior two. The legs and the lower body are still working. We're bringing in a little distraction with the movement through the arms. Let's turn the front palm up and turn this into our reverse warrior. So drop the back hand, reach the front one up and over. See if you can relax this front shoulder so it comes away from the ear. Open more through the side body without losing your lunge. Slow, intentional breath. One more here, so you reach really strong through that top hand. And as we exhale, we come back into warrior two. The legs are strong. And as you're here, really feel into what's happening. You can adjust as you need. Your breath is supporting you. See if you can relax anything, maybe your toes, maybe your shoulders, maybe your breath. We're going to bring this back hand forward again. And as we do, we're going to come onto the toes of the back foot. So this is a crescent lunge, and we're going to revolve our warrior. So now our left hand is going to sweep back into warrior two arms. We're going to turn and twist this to the left. Lots of balance here. Use your breath. Inhale, that hand comes forward, nice and slow, really mindful. And then we open that hand back. We're going to do that one more time. Take a breath here. Bring the hand forward. Really nice and slow. Open the left hand to the back, twisting open. Inhale, we're going to sweep that hand forward. Bring both hands up overhead. And then exhale, come back down to your runner's lunge. Step your front foot back to child's pose or downward facing dog. Taking your time to get there. And when you arrive, we come back to breath. See if you can soften, come back into your body. We're going to take one more breath here. If you're in child's pose, tucking the toes under and finding your way to downward facing dog. We're going to shift to do the other side. So we're going to take our gaze between the hands, step the right foot up into a runner's lunge. Tap the foot if it needs. Find a really good structure for your lunge. Press that back heel back, knees over the front ankle. Let the hips sink and reach the heart forward. You can have blocks underneath the hands, any level that helps you be in this shape. And now breathe, sink in. Keeping the knee moving towards the center line. Let the heart continue to reach forward. One more slow breath here. We're going to turn that back foot onto its angle and then shift up into warrior two. So adjust as you need as you come up. And keep that front knee over the front ankle. As we start to get fatigue, notice how the arms start to kind of bat wing or chicken wing. Try and lift from the upper arm, but send the energy out through the fingers, hips, ribs, heart to the long edge of your mat. Slow, intentional breath. And as you spend time here is when the mind starts to spin. It's telling you all kinds of stories about how you're feeling, about what your energy is doing, maybe about how much you hate me right now because we're still in warrior two. That's okay, just allow what you're feeling. We're going to move this now. So backhand comes forward, shift this to warrior one, and then open the hand back slowly into warrior two. Inhale, the hand comes forward. Exhale, we draw it back. Inhale forward. Exhale, come back. We have one more. I know the arms are tired. Inhale forward. Exhale, it comes all the way back. Turn the front palm up. Reverse warrior. So the back hand drops, the top hand reaches up and over. Trying not to lose the bend in your front knee, though it could lessen. Slow breath here. Can you relax anything? Are you gripping the floor with your toes? Is your jaw clenched? Really mindful in the body. With the breath, come back to warrior two. And then bring the backhand forward, warrior one. And as you do, you're going to come onto the back toes, crescent lunge. We're going to turn this into our revolved warrior. So opening the right hand this time, twisting the body towards the right long edge of the mat. Slow, deep breath. Here's where all your balance is. Really energize the arms. Keep them lifted if you're using them. The back hand comes forward, really nice and slow, and then drawing it back. Inhale, it comes forward. Exhale, we come back. Inhale, we come forward. One more time. This is the last one. Drawing it back. Inhale, we bring it forward. Both arms rise up. Down to runner's lunge. Front foot steps back. You choose down dog or child's pose. Settle in here. If you're in a down dog, still make sure that it's really strong and structured. Spread your fingers. The heart reaches for the big toes, lifting the hips high. Easy breath. One more breath here. If you're in child's pose, shifting your way into downward facing dog. We're going to take the gaze between the hands. You can walk, step, hop up towards the top of the mat. Take ragdoll. So bend in the knees here. And as we hang from the hips, you're really going to notice how this feels in your body. There might be a shakiness through the lower legs. The arms might have a heat or a cool. Just notice where you're feeling it. Allow it to be. Bend your knees a lot. Let's come all the way up to stand. Take a back bend. And exhale through heart. Close the eyes. Take a moment here to feel into the body. And then let it go. Maybe you shake out the feet. It's funny, we were really working a lot the lower body, but it's probably the upper body that you're noticing the most. So we're gonna come back to our mountain. Nice and strong. Ground down through the base of the big toe, the outside edge of the heels. Hands come to heart. Close the eyes and take a breath. And then as you open the eyes, inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. We're going to sit back into a chair pose. So send the hips back, bend the knees so that they come over the big toe and the weight comes into the heels. Your heart reaches forward. If this is too much with the arms, bring the arms down towards heart. The arms could also rest on your thighs. We're not going to be here for a super long time, but we are just going to sink in a little bit here. Slow, intentional breath. Keep pressing the big toe down into the floor so you don't stand on the outside edges of your feet. This is our last strong space. Inhale, and then exhale, see if you can get just a little bit deeper. And then we drop down into our fold. Bend the knees enough that your hands come to the mat. Then one knee at a time, we're coming down. You can sit back on heels and take a breath. You could come down to a child's pose just for a breath or two. And then make your way to seated. We're going to bring our legs in front. And we're going to come back to butterfly pose or bound angle. We are starting to wind down. We want to reach into some of the spaces of our legs that we were working with today. Depending on how close you bring your heels to your groin is going to affect the intensity of this through your legs. And if this is a really challenging space for your hips, blocks could be under your knees. We're going to take this with a Hatha mind. So we're going to take a long spine, inhale nice and tall, set the shoulders so that they are in line with the spine. Take a breath in. And then trying to keep that longer spine, we're going to move the belly button towards the floor when we fold. So you're walking your hands. They might come to the inside of your shins. They might come to the mat, but they're likely going to stay wrapped around your feet. Inhale, you're going to feel yourself roll onto the inner part of your sit bones, the long spine. And then see if you have any space to fold. We're trying to keep your spine nice and long, but you're feeling this through the inner line of the thighs, in through the hips. Never having to move forward or go any deeper into an edge than feels really good in your body, but always with that little bit of curiosity to challenge yourself without pushing past your edge. Slow breath here. And as you settle into this stronger space, again, you could close your eyes and you want to investigate releasing. Your breath can support you here. Is there anything you can relax? Your face, your hands. Take one more breath in this real yang version. And then when you exhale, shift it into yin. Relax the spine. Remove the hands from a space that might be holding you and just let it come to the floor or settle into the soles of your feet without any grip of any kind. You can move your heels further away. Come back into a real mindful and a lot gentler space with the breath. One more breath. Let the hands help guide you up to center. We're going to close up the knees. Take the feet wide as your mat, maybe even a little wider, just a few windshield wipers. So hands come in behind, the knees fall. And we're going to come down onto our back. You want to bring one block with you though as you come. You could bring knees to chest with you. You could leave the feet on the floor. Let it feel really good just to be lying back down, Feel the spine get heavy to the mat. Supported bridge. We're going to lengthen out the low back. Yes, a lot of it in our practice today. So the feet come closer to the heels. Sorry, the heels come closer to the sit bones. We're going to take hold of our block, press into your feet enough to be able to lift your hips up into bridge pose. You're going to choose your level 1 or level 2. Place a block underneath your sacrum. Let the hips come down. And adjust. See if you can get your shoulder blades just a little bit underneath your body. And maybe you reach the arms up overhead. You could take them into cactus arms, reach into the biceps a little bit, that space that we were working with in our warriors. And keeping the feet grounded to the mat, let some time open up the front of the hips. How much can you relax here? Did you even notice you were holding tension through the legs, through the feet, maybe through the hands? Continuing that mindful inquiry of allowing yourself to be unwound here. And coming back to a more intentional breath. The knees kind of splayed out to the sides. Just bring them back in line with your hips. If the hands are overhead, we're going to bring them down alongside of the body so we can take hold of our support. Bringing one knee at a time up towards your chest. You want to adjust so that you feel really supported and secure with your sacrum on the top of your block. Moving towards a waterfall pose. We're going to reach the feet up into the air. See if you can bring your ankles over the knees, knees over the hips. If it feels like it's too much and you're on level 2 with your block or support, bring it down a level and then make your way back up. If it feels okay, the hands can move away. They can even reach up overhead. Close the eyes, come back into that supportive breathing. In through the nose. Long and slow, out through the nose, even longer, even slower. At any time it feels like too much to keep the feet lifted, first explore and see if you can find a better place for them to rest. So there's really no effort here, but the knees could come to chest at any point. Three more easy breaths. Bring the hands back alongside, holding on to your support. The knees come down to chest if they aren't already there. Then 1 foot at a time is looking for the floor as you bring the back bend back into play. Take a breath here, back in your supported bridge. When you're ready, you're going to press into the feet just enough to remove your support. Bring yourself back down. And your first urge might be to bring knees to chest, but see if you can sit with anything that you might be feeling. Just allow it to happen through that space as all of the body's fluids and energy all flows back into the low back. And then you could bring knees to chest. Give yourself a hug, a rock. We're going to come back to the space of a twist. And you can take any twist that's going to feel really good in your body. Just a simple twist with the knees together is great, especially if you support it to bring the floor up to meet your body where it needs to be. If you want to reach into the sides of your body and the hips a little more, maybe you take a stag twist. I'm going to guide stag. You move to where it feels best for you. Stag, we're going to take the feet a little bit wider, about as wide as the mat. This is also a windshield wiper twist. We're going to take a deep breath in and let the knees fall over to the right side first, leaving the shoulders on the floor. Just let them come into the space that feels right. It's available through the hips. And you're going to start to feel this the most through the top of the left hip and into the side. If you want a little bit more, maybe you cross your right ankle on the left knee. You could support with blocks under both knees, under one. You could let them be in space. Whatever variation of a twist you're in, take a slow, deep breath in. And as you heavily let that go, find a home for your arms that feels good. And then relax everything that you can. We're going to take 5 cycles of breath here. Last full breath. If you're in stag pose and the ankles crossed, gently remove that foot back to the floor. Everyone's going to unwind their twist. So the feet come to the mat. Realign your spine and feel. And then shifting to the other side. If you're coming into stag with me, we're going to walk the feet as wide as the mat again. Everyone's shifting the hips just a little bit to the right, and then the knees fall to the left. Trying to keep the shoulders heavy to the floor. Explore your shape. Support as you like, as it feels good. If you're in stag, maybe the left ankle comes on top of the right knee, but it does not have to. With an exhale, you find a home for your arms. And then start to relax. And then 5 more breaths. Last breath. If your ankle is crossed over your knee, let the foot come back down to the floor. We're going to unwind your twist, realign your spine, and feel. One more time, gather up the knees towards the body. Give yourself a big squeeze. Wrap the arms around. You could rock. You can make circles or figure eights. Massage that low back space. And then releasing, we're going to take the legs long. Coming back into our fish pose. Palms down, tuck them gently underneath the sit bones. We're going to shrug the shoulders up towards the ears so that we can get the elbows as close alongside your body as you are able, and then let them come down to the mat. Take a full deep breath here, nice and slow. See if you can relax into this a little bit as you let it go. And then with your next inhale, you're going to press into your elbows, lift the upper body, leading from the heart and the ribs. Squeeze the shoulder blades back. Let the head drop back if that feels safe. Inhale, pressing into the arms. We're using the biceps. We're opening up the heart space. Relax the legs on the exhale. One more breath here. Inhale, really lengthen the spine. Let this feel good, tractioning everything out. And then bring chin to chest as you collapse this back down to the floor. Untuck. Open the arms out into a T. Right arm over left. We're going to wrap around. Walk the fingers like you're going to interlace them behind your spine. Lift the shoulders, just a micro lift away from the floor. Feel the opening through the back line, the release to the outside of the shoulders. Full deep breath into this really confined space. Pause at the top. And when you let it go, open the arms back out. Let them be heavy. Maybe a wiggle of the fingers to help move the energy through. And then one more time with an inhale, left over right. Wrap the arms around. Try and touch them behind the back. It's not going to happen. That's just our intention. Lift the shoulders up just a touch. Breathe full into this space. Pause at the top. Exhale, unravel. And then find your way to Shavasana. Right back where we started. As you come in, just check in. How different does it feel now? There might be a vibrancy, a shifting. Notice where there's engagement that's lingering from practice, and take a breath or two to soften those spaces. Let the floor reach up to cradle you. Take a slow, deep breath in through the nose so it drops right down to the base of the belly as it rises. The ribs open, the heart lifts. Pause. Maybe you tuck the chin to contain the energy. Take the bandha. The chin's tucked. Open it back up. Take a little bit of sip of air in. And a heavy breath. Let it all go. Reconnecting with your breath. Taking your time to slowly build the inhale and letting it go. Feeling through every space in the body. And then inviting movement back in. Wiggling the toes, moving the fingers, wrists, ankles, allowing the head to drop side to side. And then let's point your toes, reach the hands up overhead, take a full body stretch. Big deep breath in, open every space, maybe even shift and move, and then let it all go. Move any way that feels right or feels necessary as you slowly start to make your way up to seated. As you arrive, come to a comfortable seat. Nice tall spine. Let the eyes close down. Just take a moment to check in. This is a time to find some gratitude for yourself, for making time for practice, to let go of any judgment that you might have had of things, the way they felt, or how you moved today. It was perfect. Just feel good in your skin. Maybe you set an intention to carry this good vibration off the mat and into your day. Let's bring hands up towards heart. And then bring them up to the space between the eyes. And bow to honor our practice, to honor ourselves. As always, you have my gratitude for joining me and allowing me to guide you. Keep taking good care, and I will see you soon.